All right. Welcome back again to Melache TV Chess and Domino channel, YouTube channel. Um, I'm Melache, Andre Melache, and my host is Curtis Suarez. And we have a distinguished gentleman in the house today. Um, need not to any long introduction because everybody in the Domino world know about him. Um, Mr. Dwayne Bailey, the president of Jdca. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, man. Thanks much, Melachi. Big up.
Yes. Um, Mr. Bailey, first thing I want to ask you, what JDCA stands for?
Yeah, JDC stands for the Jamaica Domino Council Association.
Okay. How long now you have been president?
I actually recently became president. Became vice president in 2020. Served beneath Peter Holness, who was the then president. And as at this year, I actually would have stepped upwards in the role as president.
Okay, great. What is the mission of JDCA?
All right. Well, our mission is basically to elevate the sport. We Domino in Jamaica is recognized as more or less a street corner game that you really, play in idle time. And we have seen, in very strong doses that there is such a great capacity for the sport of domino. So we have uplifted the sport. We have been pushing for the sport to be recognized as a sport, and it's gaining significant ground. In the to the extent where we now have organized competitions locally, internationally, and our mission basically is to continue to elevate the sport so that it can gain the status that it should get. And as a side mission, we're actually pushing right now along with the JOA, to bring the sport to the Olympics. So those are two of our major objectives that we're looking for right now.
Okay. Is there a governing body for Domino or is JDCA the governing body for Domino?
All right. At current, we have a number of bodies within the island. Right now, what we're looking to do is to see how best we can have like a network, a unified body that we can have a coordinated effort towards the development of the sport. But short answer to your question, no, we don't have just one governing body that entirely governs the sport. We do a lot of work, and there are other notable bodies as well that do quite a bit for the sport as well.
Okay, very well. How can clubs be a part of JDCA?
All right, so for the club itself to be a part to be affiliated with the JDCA, again we do a number of processes within the sport. We have competitions that we regulate, whether our directly run competition like the double six tournament that's coming up now, as well as we do a number of other programs as well, and a lot of competitions as well. We have a lot of clubs right now that are registered and that take the stance and the approach that they want to be recognized as one of the actual clubs, the governing clubs. And in order to be affiliated with us, basically we accept requests for same, whether it is that you want to play in the competition or if you want to have an active part in the legislative pieces of it. We accept insight, we accept guidance. We take a lot of information as well, and we move forward. So as you adequately said, I am somewhat a public figure in Domino now. Persons are aware of how to get in contact with me. I don't know if you can flash my number on screen. Also, for persons wanting to communicate, electronically, we have an email address. It's jdcadomino21@gmail.com. So that's a way that you can get in contact with the board as well. And again, we assist in a number of ways with the development of clubs as well. We bring clubs up to speed in terms of the rules and regulations, the various formats of the game, and all of that stuff. So any communication we receive, we welcome it. We give the guidance. We welcome affiliations of all form within the sport.
Okay. How do you describe your relationship with clubs?
Well, I would say that my relationship with clubs is very good. I have never been to any club that really and truly wouldn't want to be accepting of the JDCA. Through the many competitions that we keep, we have been lauded as, what the premier body governing the sport by virtue of either the competitions that we put on or the other programs that we offer as well, because we do a lot of community outreach. We do stuff outside of Domino as well. At some point before COVID, of course, we used to visit children's homes or golden age homes. We bring stuff that we get from other entities or that we put together ourselves. We prepare packages. We go in and do a lot of community service. And we assist, as I said before, in a number of other community outreach programs. We go within inner city communities. We use Domino as a way of bringing peace and joining communities as well. So just a number of things that we have done. And from the club perspective, I have actively been involved either with at the level of administration in terms of helping clubs to become developed, whether it is to give guidance or assistance in whether the creation of certain documents, some basic things like getting an email address for the club, giving assistance in terms of registering within the company's office of Jamaica, or I have actually played for one or two clubs as well. In an at an earlier time, or as recently as earlier in this year, where I would have participated in a competition run by another governing body as well. So yeah, I think that the relationship between the clubs and JDCA is a pretty good one.
Okay, I was just going to ask if you're a domino player, but you answered the question. Who inspired you to play domino, though, Mr. Bailey?
Well, the truth of it is, I guess I grew up in a domino family. My father played domino, my big uncle, my cousin. And I would grow up and I would see them going out to domino and playing and beating table and all of that. And we had it as so much fun. My best friend resides in Ohio right now, and myself, we used to go to the top of the street on a Thursday and a Friday. I would see the older persons playing domino, and we always want to get a little game, and they wouldn't give us a game because they're saying that we are juniors in the thing and we can to come and size up with the stalwarts. So till one day we got a chance, and we kind of drop a big six on one of the premier teams, the premier peers on the street, and from there, it was all upwards. We loved, the unity that it brought in. But to answer the question itself, my love for domino came at a very young age, just through and not just one person, but everyone who I used to sit and watch at the corner of the street.
Okay, great. What is your greatest challenge being a part of JDCA?
I think the greatest challenge is the limitations that we get sometimes. We always want to do a whole lot for the sport or for the clubs or for the persons within the sport, but sometimes we're very limited based on the lack of involvement, particularly from corporate Jamaica. So we do have a lot of do what we would want to do, and that being the case, we are most times limited. So I think that's one of the sport in itself, while it grows, it takes a lot of time and effort and resources. Sometimes it does cost a lot, particularly for us that do the organizing, and we don't necessarily see any returns as a result of it. But that's basically the challenge, the limitation, with assets, with funding. But we step forward, and or as some people would say, we do it for the love.
Okay. All right. JDCA, they have a tournament, a league coming up. Can you tell us some more about it?
Definitely. So the JDCA boasts one of, if not the best domino competition that happens within Jamaica. This tournament, it's labeled the double six tournament, JDCA double six tournament. We run this tournament every year. So we're starting this tournament. The launching for the tournament will be on Sunday. We get participation from clubs who mostly reside in Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Catherine. However, we get participation from patrons all across Jamaica. One of the clubs that went really far in the competition last year would have had players based from as far as Montego Bay and Negril. And we even had persons from overseas who, would ensure that they budget and take time to come down when it get to quarterfinal stage. The competition itself, though, it takes the discipline of the coded version of Domino. We play, as I say, within those specific regions, and it's a case where teams actually register to play. We have match day on a Sunday. A number of games are played, and we have a point system basically. So the top 8 teams go through to a quarterfinal, and then we battle it out until there is a overall champion. So the competition, as I say, we try to make it a little bit fun and beneficial for the persons, for the clubs that take part. We paid out cash prize for the first to fourth place teams last year, and then we also sweetened the deal a little bit for the 4 teams that I won't say the bottom teams, but the teams that didn't do so well. The 4 teams that would have been to the latter end of the standings, and we gave them just a little bit of funding and a little bit of prize money as well. So teams basically are in the phase now where they're getting themselves registered. Just like every other league, every other sport, there are star players that play for specific teams. Some players bring their talents to other teams. So right now it's just, every team trying to put themselves in order. Again, the launching is gonna be this Sunday at Mystic Sports Bar, which is at 78.5 Hagley Park Road. So we invite everybody to come by. We're gonna have the president for the Jamaica Olympics Association giving his main speech on the day. We did send information to the office, the minister's office for sports and culture. So herself or representative is also expected to be there. And again, this being one of the premier leagues that runs throughout the course of the year, there is so much involvement. We have so many great things in store this year. There is a big hype for the competition based on how well it did last year. The media house is excited about it as well. And we're looking to get, quite a bit of recognition, not specifically for the JDCA or the clubs or players, but just for the sport overall. So really great things expected for this season.
Okay. Yes, my viewers and subscribers, you're watching Melache TV, Chess and Domino channel. Yes, if you don't subscribe as yet, please remember to subscribe to get the latest happenings in Chess and Domino. Well, Mr. Suarez, over to you.
Yes, evening everyone. Are you hearing me?
Yeah,
Good,
man,
good.
hearing you.
There we go.
Good evening. Mr. Daly, you mentioned that you reaped some success from last year, your competition. I know that this year, you're going to make some improvements. Could you tell our audience about the improvements for this year? Any changes towards the rules, registration, etc.?
Sure. So starting off with the registration, clubs are able to register whether online. We can send you a copy of the registration sheet and form. You can go ahead and register. Some clubs prefer to do the transaction physically. We are also at 3 locations. You can basically give us some contact and we will give you assistance to register. For the club itself, there's a small registration fee of $12,000. And for the player, registration of players within the specific clubs, it is $700 if it's a new player that already has an ID for the club. If it's a seasoned player or a player registered to the club before using the same ID, it is $500 for that registration, right? Um, Again, the competition itself, we're looking to take on a similar format. Depending on how many clubs we get registered this year, we might have 2 zones so that there's a bit of fairness for the teams that are new or the teams that we don't would not have reached up to that level to compete against the more seasoned or the veteran teams. So we'll be looking to, depending on the registration, give that format in a more definitive way. Um, so the clubs can register the club, register the players. We will give out the rules. We will have the matches week on week. We're looking to have a featured match for each week. That's to be announced, and the media host will be present. That's one change that we'll be taking. An additional change that we're making as well is to try to highlight a little bit more the specific players, first of all, putting in the work within the sport. So we plan to have some features week on week, where persons can get some recognition, especially persons that might not necessarily play, but they give a great input to the sport itself. We're looking to recognize persons in that capacity. As it relates to the rules, generally we give for the point system, when a team wins a match, usually they get 4 points. And then the team that loses, if the margin is by less than 10 points, we normally give an extra point. One major change this year is that we're eradicating that extra point, just based on challenges that we saw last year. We're trying to prevent any club from any kind of activity that might, bring disrepute to the overall standings. So no extra point this year. That's one of the changes. Additional changes, we're gonna also be looking specifically at the time that we're starting the matches. Also something that's very challenging within the sport itself. Most times we are not very prompt in terms of time. So there will be strict sanctions for this year as it relates to the start time of matches and so forth. Outside of that, it's the routine game. We play to 250 points. We have a halftime break, which we honor as well. And then we the halftime would be 125 points. And then we resume play at the end of that. The first team to 250 points wins on the day. So the rest of the rules, of course, will be highlighted at the launch, and we'll give each club or interested person a copy of the rules. But the as I said before, getting the the recognition out there for the sport. I think we're gonna be taking a whole lot more steps this year as opposed to previous year in terms of getting persons or making persons aware of how powerful domino can be in not only building of the sport but building the community overall.
Okay. Do you
Okay,
have
thank
any
you so much
sponsors?
for that, Mr. Bailey.
Do you have any
Sorry.
sponsors for the upcoming league?
All right, we don't have a flagship sponsor as at right now. We are in deliberations with a few entities. Discussions are very advanced right now. I can say that at best, at worst, we should be able to match the output in terms of how lucrative we made it for the clubs last year. But the capacity for that to grow and grow significantly is there, just based on the interest that we've been getting from a lot of the corporate entities and potential sponsors. So no flagship sponsors right now. Based on actions that we do internally, we might be able to generate some funds, or we should be able to generate funds to be able to pay out similar to last year. But the possibility, as I say, is there. Depending on how well we do as well, we might set our foot in the sun to see a lot of growth coming next year.
Oh, okay, Mr. Bailey. Being that we're on this platform now, this interview may reach, a lot of corporate entities. As the president of the JDC, why should I, as a businessman, come on board and sponsor this competition?
All right, really great question. And we answered this question in another forum earlier, earlier in the week, as a matter of fact. So you are becoming involved is one of the fastest growing sports across Jamaica right now, right? It's a case where you are getting active eyes from every possible person or kind of person or area of person. So domino for me, I always say we call football the national sport. I think domino should be. It's the only sport that has zero barriers. Anybody at all can play domino. So the recognition is coming from men, from women, from the elderly, from the young. And again, you are getting that much more involvement. So the return on your investment is based on how many persons are gonna be seeing your brand. We not only host the competition locally. At some point throughout the competition, year on year, we get an active involvement, as I said before, from overseas persons as well. And as a matter of fact, we actually do have a match set up right now. We got some invitation based on the work that we're doing from a team from the UK, which should be journeying to Jamaica to play against a JDCA Jamaica team. So, so much to gain from being partnered with JDCA right now in terms of how much your brand will be going out there.
Okay, thank you very much, and I hope that somebody will come on board and give some support to the JDCA as really as they're running their competitions, because trust me, it's really exciting, really wonderful competitions year to year. We really look forward to it. As it relates to videoing the matches, I think persons would love to see more videoing of the matches, being recorded, so they can see it for future reference, and persons who are not at the venue can get a chance to watch these matches. Is there any improvement in that regard on the JDC level? Because you can team with Melasha TV, and get some more of the broadcasting out there.
Yeah, man. If we get to Melacha TV, then by all means, we reach to the albeit, Melacha TV, the work that has been going on. Truth be told, there is a lot of things that we're trying to put in perspective. We have certain patents and so forth that we would have to look at. So the legalities portion of it, we're trying to work through. We are a registered non-profit body under the the Companies Office of Jamaica. But at the same time, there are certain stipulations that we would want to ensure that we are able to fully control before we can commit wholeheartedly to one or many of the media. I know that Melachi TV generally, travels to a lot of these matches week on week and gets really great footage. Um, my aim in future is to have a live stream basically at every match that's played. Whenever we have a match day, not so sure that it can be done for this particular period of time, but for this year, I should say. But in future, that's where we're looking to go, where you can literally log on and be able to see and watch your favorite players and watch your favorite teams and support them, irrespective of where you are in the world. It is something also that one of our potential sponsors were saying to us. They would want to know that persons are able to get results and make adjustments. They can look at the specifics of it and see how best persons can make it more of an interactive thing. So we're looking along the lines of the media as well. In recent times, we've been getting a lot of interest. I did a few interviews, whether on the radio. I did a few interviews at CVM TV last year. So eventually, it's gonna come to a stage where on a Monday evening, you turn your TV on, and right there on sports news, you should be able to see your favorite players, putting domino at the table. So no short answer for that one, CT, but working on it, working on getting there.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you very much for that. My final question to you. There are a lot of expectations of the
We're not
JDC
hearing you,
team.
Mr. Suarez.
I don't think he's hearing us either.
Mr. Suarez, we're not hearing you, Mr. Suarez. We're just hearing some music in the background.
You hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can hear you now.
Right. I know there's a lot of expectation.
All right, Mr. Suarez, I think he's driving, so maybe it's a signal problem.
For the
Right.
But in the meantime, Mr. Bailey, is there a dress code for the tournament?
Yes, so each team basically dons the dress code of their respective team. So clubs get an opportunity to wear a jersey. The jersey would be a representation of them. They have certain colors that associated. So in wearing the jersey, that would just be their representation.
Well, you're breaking up also, Mr. Bailey.
Um,
I think Mr. Bailey, you're breaking up also. I think yes.
any clearer now?
Yes, go ahead. We didn't hear
Sorry
the
about
last.
that. I was saying we made a little change this year as well. Understand that sometimes it's very difficult because generally a club would wear the jersey and a jeans pants. We expect you to be neatly tucked in your uniform, whether you're playing at a table or you're in the ring for scoring or captain. But for this year, we had actually discussed from late last year that we wanted to give a little bit more flexibility for the players, being that they're playing for so long, for such a long period. So we're allowing a little bit more relaxed dress code where persons can wear possibly a sweatpants, I should say, along with the jersey top, just to give a little bit more freedom. So the only thing is, we ask that sweatpants also has the colors for the team, or be a black sweatpants. But most teams will wear their jersey year on year.
Okay, that's so good, man. A lot of flexibility right there. And yes, I think that's good for me because I love to wear sweatpants. I love them because they're hot.
Definitely, man. To be out there, sometimes a game lasts a very long time. Would want to know that persons are very comfortable. And again, we're trying to modernize how we look at the sport overall. And those are just one of the small adjustments that we can do to make it much better, make persons much more comfortable.
Okay, great. How do you deal with poor performance of referee from the referee?
All right. So poor performance overall, or I should say, what they would call egregious or malicious kind of deportment. It's a no nonsense approach towards it across the board. So whether you're a player, whether you are a supporter, whether you are a referee, as you mentioned earlier, we have a very strict no nonsense policy as it relates to it. For last year, I believe we had some misconduct from one referee in particular, and at the end of it, we decided to issue a ban for that referee. He would not have been a part of it for the remainder of the year. And persons can be docked pay for a match. They can be suspended for a period of time, whether 1 game, 2 game, or the season, as I mentioned earlier. And the same principle applies for anybody that's affiliated with any team, whether playing the sport, officiating on behalf of a team, or anything like that. How that works though is that generally, generally, if it's someone that the referee imparts on, the referee will take a report and send it to the board. The board will oversee the report, make contact with the player or the club, and we have a disciplinary hearing. Once that is finished, we'll pass I don't want to call it a judgment, but we'll move forward with a decision. If the decision is not favorable and, we give the clubs the opportunity to appeal, and then the appeal is therefore turned over to, what we would call a standing committee. So we give persons a fair opportunity to have, a good chance to let their voices be heard, and that's the way that we will continue to operate.
Okay, thank you for that. Yes, my viewers and subscribers, welcome again to Melacha TV. We're here with the JDCA president, Mr. Dwayne Bailey, and our co-host, Mr. Curtis Suarez. But Mr. Suarez seems as if he's on the tone, so maybe it's a signal problem. So he got disconnected. So please remember to subscribe to Melacha TV. Mr. President, how well do you handle stress?
Yeah.
and pressure?
Well, stress, I mean, in all walks of life, we'll encounter it. For me, I think the best way to handle stress is to have some domino, to play some domino. So it's even a part of my routine on a Friday evening like tonight. I have all of my work friends waiting for me right now because I will play domino on a Friday night just to bring a little bit of ease and de-stress basically from a rough week of work. So outside of that, I spend a lot of time with my family. I am happily engaged and proud father of 6 children. I spend a lot of time with them. And that's basically it. I'm a very family oriented person, very calm, very fun, and very out there, free spirited as well. So that's basically how I deal with that kind of stress.
All right. One of the reasons why I really ask this question, because we have a lot of players out there who are really hard to deal with, You understand? So that just goes for the other question. As a president, how do you resolve conflicts?
Definitely, I think the best way to resolve conflicts is always to allow a lot of perspectives, right? I allow persons to give me their point of view, and in getting the points of views, you or the other persons involved can have a better perspective as to how whatever is causing the conflict would be affecting them. So I think the best way basically is just to give everybody a forum.
Yes, it seems as if Mr. Bailey um, is also in his car. So maybe it's a signal problem also. Yes, my viewers, please remember to subscribe to get the latest happening in Chess and Domino and Melache TV. So I'm at 600 subscribers and I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. So my viewers, if you don't subscribe as yet, please encourage and motivate me to continue this wonderful work by broadcasting and bringing the game of Domino to you. I am waiting to see if, okay, they are disconnected. So my viewers, maybe we have to have a part 2 of this interview with the JDCA president, Mr. Dwayne Bailey. And to all my viewers right now, thanks for tuning in. And please remember, come out early on Sunday for the dress parade, for the launch, JDCA, Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine League. All right, my viewers, thanks again for tuning in. And we lost our co-hosts and our guests. So we will be back. Good night, my viewers and subscribers.